Tanzania is burning, literally and politically. The calm that once defined this East African nation has shattered overnight, replaced by the crackle of flames and the roar of angry crowds. From the heart of Dar es Salaam to the farthest corners of Mbeya, fury now fills the air as protesters touch streets, block highways, and even storm the airport in defiance of what many are calling the most rigged election in the country's history. The trigger: President Samia Suluhu Hassan's imminent re-election by a landslide after barring the country's main opposition figures from running and cracking down on dissent, a reality that has transformed an already tense vote into an all-out national rebellion. Tear gas now hangs where campaign posters once stood. Soldiers patrol streets like it's wartime, and Tanzania's long-cherished image as one of Africa's most peaceful democracies lies in ashes. Could this be the moment the nation finally breaks under the weight of its own silence? It all began on election day, when the nation's patience snapped. The government's decision to exclude opposition giants Tundu Lissu of Chadema and Luhaga Impina of ACT Wazalendo from the presidential race sparked immediate outrage. Lissu, who had previously survived an assassination attempt, was charged with treason for calling for electoral reforms, while Impina was disqualified after the Attorney General raised objections. With both major challengers gone, only smaller, nearly invisible candidates were left to contest. The writing was on the wall. The election was Samia's to win. But when early results began rolling in, showing her leading with 96.9% of the vote in the first tallied constituencies, anger erupted like wildfire. In the southwestern province of Mbeya, reports showed her securing nearly 95% of votes, numbers that felt eerily reminiscent of authoritarian regimes rather than democratic contests. Could Tanzanians really have chosen one person so overwhelmingly? Or was this the final straw in a system already rigged beyond recognition? By nightfall, Dar es Salaam was unrecognizable. Protesters lit bonfires across the city, from Mbagala to Kiluvia, defying curfews and risking their lives to be heard. Police responded with tear gas and live ammunition, sending clouds of smoke billowing over the skyline. Amnesty International confirmed at least 2 deaths, a civilian and a police officer, calling the situation deeply disturbing. Yet, the violence only deepened as the hours passed. The internet went dark, silencing voices and blocking images from spreading. Still, Tanzanians found a way. Using walkie-talkie style apps like Zello, protesters organized marches, shared updates, and urged each other to keep pushing. The streets became both battlefield and symbol, a reflection of a nation demanding to be seen. By the following morning, the government had declared a city-wide curfew and ordered all civil servants and students to stay home. Dar es Salaam's once bustling roads were now barricaded with checkpoints manned by armed soldiers. Reports emerged of the military patrolling key intersections, stopping vehicles and detaining anyone without an official reason to be outdoors. Even the Julius Nyerere Airport, Tanzania's main gateway to the world, became a flashpoint of defiance. Hundreds of young protesters breached security barriers and flooded its access roads, chanting against what they call a coronation, not an election. Parts of the airport were damaged and flights were cancelled, while similar scenes played out in the northern cities of Arusha and near Mount Kilimanjaro, where airports were shut down entirely. Is this the same Tanzania once known for its calm, measured politics and warm Swahili hospitality? Or is the nation finally expressing decades of pent-up frustration? President Samia Suluhu Hassan's story is, in many ways, a tale of transformation, and not necessarily the kind her people hoped for. When she rose to power in 2021, following the sudden death of President John Magufuli, she was hailed as a reformer, a breath of fresh air in a suffocating political climate. Her early days were marked by openness, especially towards the opposition and the media. She spoke of unity, reconciliation, and the need to heal the nation. But somewhere along the line, her leadership took a darker turn. Critics began disappearing. Journalists were silenced. Human rights organizations documented torture, kidnappings, and intimidation of those who dared to question the government. In June, a panel of 9 UN experts reported over 200 disappearances since 2019, warning that the state was sliding toward authoritarianism. By September, Human Rights Watch had recorded fresh cases of politically motivated abductions and assaults. For a woman once praised as a symbol of progress, how did she become the very thing she once opposed? This week's election seems to have been the breaking point. Tanzanians, long regarded as some of the most peaceful people in East Africa, are no longer willing to watch quietly. As one young man shouted in a now viral video before the internet blackout, "We have been silent for too long. What have we been doing?" That raw, trembling voice of frustration has echoed across the continent before and is starting to sound familiar. Because what's happening in Tanzania right now feels eerily similar to what just unfolded in Madagascar, where thousands of youth-led protesters flooded the streets to demand the resignation of Andry Rajoelina. After days of unrest and clashes with the army, the military eventually stepped in, forcing the president to flee. And just days ago, Cameroon was rocked by fury after 92-year-old Paul Biya was declared the winner of yet another rigged election, sparking nationwide protests and violent crackdowns. Could Tanzania be next in this wave of African uprisings, where the youth are finally saying, enough? There's something profoundly Pan-African in this moment. A generational awakening rippling from Antananarivo to Yaoundé to Dar es Salaam. Across the continent, young Africans are no longer content to be spectators in their own countries. They are challenging systems built on fear and control, systems that have long treated them as passive subjects rather than active citizens. As one Tanzanian activist put it online before his account went dark, we are rewriting our political culture from being cows to being citizens. Those words capture the spirit of a continent in transition, where peace is no longer synonymous with silence. Yet the crisis in Tanzania is far from over. The protests are growing, not fading. More marches are being planned in defiance of curfews and bans. The burning of government buildings, the occupation of airports, and the growing number of casualties suggest that the country is inching closer to a tipping point. If President Samia is officially confirmed as winner in the coming days, it could ignite even greater chaos, perhaps even the unthinkable: a full-scale government overthrow. Could Tanzania's image as one of Africa's most stable nations survive such upheaval? Or are we witnessing the dawn of a new, more defiant generation of Tanzanians determined to reclaim their future, no matter the cost? For now, the world watches with bated breath. The smoke rising over Dar es Salaam tonight isn't just the residue of burning ties. It is the symbol of a nation on fire, demanding change. Whether this fire burns down the old order or consumes the nation itself remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: Tanzania, and indeed Africa, will never be the same again. Your perspective matters. What do you make of the ongoing chaos in Tanzania due to President Samia Suluhu Hassan's controversial re-election bid? Share your thoughts and insights in the comment section below. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the New Africa channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our informative future videos. Stay informed, stay engaged, and thank you for watching.